and Blue Dude here with you again. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and become part of the Gold and Blue Dude crew. We are growing more and more every day. Today, it's time to talk about an old familiar foe of West Virginians. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Louisville, Louisville, Louisville. If you haven't guessed it already, I am talking about the Louisville Cardinals. Scott Satterfield has the Cardinals pointing in the right direction. And even though the days of Lamar Jackson are a distant memory, Satterfield has proven that Louisville can still be a winning football program. They have 15 returning starters, which is good. It's a good start. So if any team in the Atlantic can at least scare Clemson, it is Louisville. Now last year, Scott Satterfield turned a sinking ship completely around. They finished 8-4. Second in the ACC Atlantic, only to Clemson. So let's talk about the offense real quick. Now, the first thing is the offense loves to run the ball, and they're pretty good at it. Running back Javian Hawkins, I'll get it out. Javian Hawkins is back. He had eight 100 rush games. He had 264 rushes for 1,525 yards, 9 touchdowns, and averaged 5.8 yards a carry. Now, back at quarterback will be Mikael Cunningham. Last year, he was 112 for 179. That's 62.6%. He threw for 2,065 yards, 22 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. That's not bad. And Coach Satterfield thinks his QB is even better than those numbers. So expect Cunningham's numbers to go higher if Satterfield is correct. He has a lot of confidence in his quarterback. People forget, Cunningham is also a dual threat. He also ran for 482 yards and 6 touchdowns. He is a legit dual threat. They also have talent at wide receiver. Tutu Atwell, that's a good name. He's coming back. He had 70 receptions, 1,276 yards, 12 touchdowns, averaging 8.2 yards a catch. So that's a good 1-2-3 combo for the Cardinals. But to go along with Atwell, Dez Fitzpatrick will also be back. He had 35 receptions for 635 yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, most of the offensive line is back except for Mekhi Becton. And that's a big deal. He went to the NFL, but as a whole, I think the offense should be fine. So overall, the offense for me gets a B+, but they have the potential to be an A. So now it's time to talk about the not so good part about Louisville, the defense. It's a work in progress. Last year, it was a liability. They allowed 500+ yards of total offense in several games. The D-line was not good. So, you know, the fact that only defensive end Tiberius Peterson is back is not necessarily a bad thing. Now, they do have all 4 linebackers back this year, starting with C.J. Avery. He had 62 tackles by himself, 93 altogether, and 3 sacks. Also, linebacker Dorian Etheridge, he'll be back. 45 tackles by himself, 70 altogether, 1 sack, and 1 interception. Also, they get a transfer from Ohio State, Rajay Burns. I'll get it. Rajay Burns. He had 54 tackles by himself, 83 altogether, 2 sacks, 1 interception, and 1 forced fumble. Now, the coaches are saying he's emerging as a leader on the defensive side of the ball. So that's a big deal for Louisville, because last year they didn't really have that much of a leader. So now the secondary must improve from last year. They only had 7 interceptions altogether. And it starts with cornerback or safety. He can play both. Russ Yeast. He had 38 tackles by himself, 61 altogether, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, and 4 pass deflections. Not bad. And jumping into the starting quarterback positions will be Anthony Johnson. He had 21 tackles by himself, 27 altogether, 1 interception, 3 forced fumbles, and 6 pass deflections. To go along with him is cornerback Chandler Jones. He had 40 tackles by himself, 50 altogether, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, and 10 pass deflections. So they do have experience at secondary. They just need to be better than they were last year. Overall, right now, I give the defense a C minus, but I do expect them to improve upon what they did last year. They could, move up maybe to a B minus or a B, which is a big step up from last year. So now, of course, I'm going to go through my heaven and hell scenarios for Louisville. So here's the heaven scenario. The offense picks up where it left off, putting up a ton of points. Rajay Burns, the transfer from Ohio State, ignites the defense and makes it improve massively. And the Cardinals have a 10-win season. Now, the hell scenario. The offense becomes mediocre. The defense doesn't improve at all. And Louisville sputters down the stretch to a 7-5 record. It's not great, but that's not a terrible hell scenario. So what's my prediction? Well, the gold and blue prediction looks a little something like this. First of all, the schedule isn't horrendous, although they do have to go to Clemson and to Notre Dame. But I think the offense will be one of the top 3 in the ACC, right behind Clemson and North Carolina. I do think Louisville will improve, but not quite to 10 wins because of the defense. So now I'm going to look through the schedule and call out wins and losses. Here we go. First game, NC State at home. Win. At Clemson. Loss. Murray State at home. Win. Western Kentucky at home. Win. At Syracuse. I'm going to give them a half there. At Boston College. Win. Florida State at home. Win. Virginia Tech at home. Win. At Virginia. There's the other half. Half. Wake Forest at home. Win. At Notre Dame. That's going to be a loss. And then to end the season, Kentucky at home. That's a win. So I do have Louisville improving to 9-3, and I do think Scott Satterfield does have Louisville pointed in the right direction, and I think they will keep climbing. And in the near future, they will be contending with Clemson for the Atlantic title, and I do think Louisville will be capable of dethroning Clemson in the near future. It'll be more of a back and forth thing. I don't think they'll start dominating or anything like that, but they'll kind of rise near Clemson's level and at least make it interesting. Okay, that's all I got for you today. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you on my next show.